In this video, we will learn how to create data tables in Excel. Data table is a simple but very important feature in Microsoft Excel. It is used for financial modeling and analysis. To use a data table function, you should have a few inputs that would lead to an output. It can also be used for creating scenarios in financial modeling and data analysis. Let us understand with the help of a simple example. In this example, we have a loan amount of rupees 30 lakhs. The interest rate on the loan is 8%. The repayment period is 20 years and the equated monthly installment on the loan amount is the output. In this example, we have three inputs which will lead to an output which is the EMI calculation. So let's quickly calculate the EMI for this loan amount. For calculating the EMI, we can use the PMT function in Excel, which needs 5 inputs. The first one is the rate function, which is 8% in our example. The second is the tenure of repayment, which is 20 years. The third is the principal amount, which is 30 lakh rupees. The fourth is the future value of the loan amount, which is 0 since the loan is getting repaid in full. And the fifth is the type of payment, which is end of the month. So we enter 0. So we get an EMI of rupees 25,000. So let's enter a negative sign to make the payment function output positive. So we get an EMI of rupees 25,000. Now we want to analyze what is the EMI if the interest rate fluctuates between 7 and 10%. So either we can do the calculations manually by changing the interest rate, or we can use the data table function. To use the data table function, first we need to enter the various inputs. So here we have already entered the interest rates from 7% to 10% with a gap of 50 basis points. And now we want to calculate the EMI at different interest rates, assuming that the repayment tenure is the same. So for using the data table function, first let's link the EMI amount to the top of the data table here, which is 23,000 rupees since we changed the interest rate. If we change the interest rate to 8%, it again changes back to the original amount. Now select the area of the data table and then go to data, what if analysis, and then select data table. Here we need two inputs. One is the row input cell and the second one is the column input cell. In this case, we just need one input, which is the interest rate, and this is the column input as we have entered the interest rates in the column. So we will leave the row input cell as blank, link the column input cell to cell D5, which is the interest rate, and press OK. We get the EMIs at different interest rates. So let's format it and see what we get. So once we format the EMIs, we see that at the rate of 8%, the EMI is 25,093 rupees, which is same as our original calculation. As the interest rates decline, the EMI also declines, whereas as the interest rates increase, the EMI also increases. So this can be effectively used to see how the EMI fluctuates with changes in interest rate and can help us plan our monthly cash flows well in advance. This was a data table using just one variable. We can create the same data table horizontally. In that case, the column input cell has to be left blank and the row input cell has to be linked to the interest rate cell. Now, let's quickly understand how to create a data table with two variables. In this example, we have three inputs: the loan amount, the interest rate, and the repayment period. We want to see how the EMI changes with change in interest rate and also with the change in repayment period. So we have two inputs over here. One is the interest rate and the second one is the repayment period. Here is the blank data table where the x-axis is the tenure of repayment and the y-axis is the interest rate. As we did in the previous data table, we have to link our data table to the output, which is the EMI again in this case. So we have linked cell I10 with the equated monthly installment, which is the expected output in the data table. And then we select the data table range, which is cell I10 to cell T18 in this example. Then we go to data, again what if analysis, and then select data table. So since this is a data table with two variables, we have to make two arguments or two inputs to this data table. One is the interest rate. So the interest rate has been entered in a column. So that is the column input cell as was done in our previous example. The tenure of repayment has been entered in row 10. So it is the row input for the data table. So we will link the row input cell as cell D6 and then press OK. Now I'll do a bit of a formatting. Now what do we see? We see that as the interest rate increases, the EMI also increases. But as the tenure of repayment increases, the size of EMI decreases. At 7% interest rate and 20 years of repayment, the size of EMI is the lowest. Whereas if we want to pay the loan in 10 years and the rate of interest is 10.5%, the size of the EMI is the highest. Hope you enjoyed this session. Visit our website skillfullearning.com to know more about financial and data analysis. Thank you.